Have you started yet, Tobias?
And an Alma band too.
Okay. And I'm a ban for Coons. He's shown some
And
great.
a Nike band.
That's
Getting rid
definitely
of
that's definitely for sheriffs.
Soul Lane's gonna look a little strapped. Kukulkan and
even-
Cthulhu getting banned soon too.
I think that Nike ban
Oh,
might be
you
for
have
Sheriff.
called it. Called it. Come on, ban the Kukulkan, baby.
Chernobog for Skipper.
the
They are
bottom two.
targeting Skipper hard.
I don't know if Chernobog's really a ban you wanna go through with, to be honest. Regardless if Skipper is good at him or not, it's just questionable.
Skipper has shown some very good viability on Chernobog. I don't know how he does it, but he does.
Don't get me wrong, I can understand being good with a god.
The first pick emoji for
But to get rid of Chernobog when there's a lot more useful picks that you can ban out, it's kind of suspect. We're just going to see Medusa and Ojingwei get put on.
Skipper's Jingwei is pretty good. I don't know if it's as good as his Cupid, but it is up there.
I'm not sure if I'm a huge fan of a Thor pick right here from Jungle. It's going to be interesting to see how it works, but with Jormungandr's ult and how quickly he can get out, if Jingwei sniffs out that you're ganking, her kind of just escapability is just tough to really get a good gank off with Thor.
Thor can gank from very far away, though, so he has the surprise advantage on the Jingwei. Jingwei's super safe.
A quick beads and, a knock up and a dash out. You're going to have to waste pretty much your entire kit just to chase. It's a rough call.
Hu Yi into Jingwei is a great pick.
I agree.
That anti-crit, unbelievable. Slept on.
Anti-crit, and on top of that, both being pretty safe. It's going to be kind of a shootout. Whoever gets killed first and, duo lane from ADC to ADC might actually matter a lot more than you would think. Especially going Hou Yi into Jingwei, that's a big matchup, I think, moving forward to that first set.
The
first
Chalk
game.
pickup for Atrocity, that's probably going to Ruler in the jungle, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I mean, Chalk definitely has the ability to just put up a ton of damage. The slow is really going to help chasing down Jingwei, especially if she doesn't have her dash up. Not Jingwei, sorry, that's a different team, my bad. If Hou Yi doesn't have his dash up, the slow is going to really affect him. I think he also has a pretty good chance of fighting Thor in jungle. Thor's going to have to pretty much burst his entire kit, and with the added defense that I think Chalk brings, especially with the CC immune ult, it's going to be tough.
I think we need wards targeted Brockus with that Odin. Brockus loves hitting 4 on Odin late game.
The good thing about Odin is that it's going to force you off some pretty big relics that I think matter a lot late game. If your support has to get Phantom Veil just to make sure that your team survives, and it's going to maybe take him off, Cursed Ankh or maybe an upgraded Shell, that's going to be really, really big late game. So I understand the ban out from that, especially if they show potential on it.
That's correct. Let's see what Ruler of Man picks for Atrocity. The Terra, that is going to Brockus. I faced his Terra, and it is something to be messed with. You think you have the upper hand, but he's pretty potent in lane.
Yeah, I mean, Terra is just one of those guys that I think, nobody's really sure how to match up against her because she's not played all too often. But she provides a ton of CC, a ton of just sustainability, so she's a really tough matchup in lane, especially as a enemy jungle. If you want to gank a Terra, it's just a nightmare.
It is. She has so much she can just run back to her tower and heal up.
You see Raijin last in. And a Bellona.
The Bellona into Terra might not be horrible.
I don't think it will. I mean, if this Terra plays it right and she's able to shut down Bellona as she winds up for her 2, then Terra probably has a pretty decent shot of winning this. The new Wa pickup, I actually like that pickup a lot. Between Terra and new Wa, great synergy there. I think playing against Raijin with new Wa is pretty good just because you're able to be safe. You're also able to go CC immune in the case that you get a good gank off on you with your ult. You snack a soul gem on it, and you're going to see pretty passive gameplay, I think, out of both sides outside of the Thor pickup and the Chinook pickup.
I will say, Atrocity's draft is a little bit scary. they've shown some pretty potent stuff with the triple tank meta. And the fact that they have Chalk, Terra, and Jormungandr, they're going to be diving the backline super hard.
Yeah, I think the one thing that's really going to benefit We Need Wards moving forward is the fact that they do have Yamoja. So diving a Yamoja is always 50-50 just in case she does have her ult up. You don't want to get caught out. But playing Raijin and Hou Yi, two pretty safe gods in laning, combined with a Thor who can always ult out, or maybe, just have that escapability with his 1, and maybe it's 2 if he drops a stun. It's going to be interesting to see if We Need Wards is able to set up pretty good counterattacks on the comp that Atrocity is bringing out.
I will say this, if Limey can hit the Thor combo consistently, that Nuwa in mid lane might be an easy target for him.
Yeah, I agree. Nuwa just doesn't have a lot of mobility. The best thing I could say is if she does see him maybe enter her 1, even then, the area of damage that the Thor ult does might just compensate. It's tough to say. Maybe she'll just ult, preemptively. But I think you can buy more time in Thor ult than you can in Nuwa ult. So it's going to be 50-50 on that.
That is true. I'm just wondering to see what this Hou Yi and Yamoja ult combo might look like.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. I mean, I don't play enough dueling to know. Can Jingwei dash through her walls, or are the walls player made walls that you can't dash through?
Jingwei cannot dash through Yamoja walls, but she can ult and then fly over the top.
Okay, so I mean, even if that's the case, burning Jingwei's ult basically takes away most of her kill potential on Hou Yi just because of the anti-crit that she's already facing. It's going to be interesting, definitely, to see how dual lane goes. I think it's going to be a pretty back and forth lane. I think the key to this game is going to be out of mid. Nuwa, just with the ability to have a global ult, that late game does a pretty sizable amount of damage. It's going to be an interesting matchup. I think they're pretty 50-50. I think Atrocity has a slightly better comp. But like I said, if Yamoja times those ults well, combined with maybe a Hou Yi ult or a Raijin ult to taunt them into it, it's going to be really, really hard for Atrocity to disengage.
You know what might be something really crazy, Noah? If we see a Terra ult, Jormungandr's basics can proc the damage from that ult so quickly. If they're diving a backline together, they're going to do some serious damage back there.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is really just a team fight comp. I think this doesn't scream a match where any specific lane is going to have an extreme advantage or maybe push out a lead. I think a lot of this is going to rely on communication, who communicates better, who has a better team fight, and who's able to just maybe turn those team fights or just maximize opportunities and mitigate losses.
Honestly, Atrocity's team fight is seriously something to consider. They've shown some great communication in their previous games.
I agree, and there's a ton of synergy as they're one of the few teams that pretty much kept most of their core together. I mean, Ruler, Skipper, and Don. I believe Sheriff Bub was also on their team last season. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, he was.
I think Brockus is the new addition. No, or
Brockus was there at the end of their last season.
At the end. I could have sworn I saw him, but I don't remember him necessarily being there all the time. But I mean, still regardless, getting at least a month or 2 of all of them together, maybe even 3. Is this We Need Wards complete team? I'm pretty sure this is just a run back of their roster, no?
Yes, I'm very sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, both teams definitely have a sense of, each other's style. It's going to be really interesting to see. Like I said, I think this is just a communication game. How well can you communicate?
Let's talk about this start in the soul lane for the Bologna. Very often, the most common thing you see is tier 1 boots and the Chalice. Bologna opted, I don't need boots. She got 3 multi-pots.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see, especially just not having boots until your first back, maybe. With the amount of CC Tara can pump out, if Tara gets a small level lead and you don't have boots on her, it's going to be really, really hard to fight into that, just with the amount of pressure she brings. Just a Rue and a stun, it's going to be really rough for this Bologna.
Bologna placing a ward on the enemy mana camp. Tara's coming to the same, probably. I wonder if they might start a fight. No. What a shame. You see Chalk and Nuwa.
Expected.
I think Chalk and Nuwa might outclear the Thor. Oh, Nuwa didn't stay. Is she gonna get XP for that?
I believe so. It should still be within range of time. A little curious to see why she would risk it. You know, especially how big that XP can be to get level 2, as we see Jormungandr picking up a sizable amount of damage. Great stun by the Umoja. He's gonna hit level 2 before, though, but he has taken a pretty sizable chunk early on.
Both supports opted for the Ghost Minion start. They went straight from purple to take that Ghost Minion XP.
Yeah, I mean, it's super meta, and you can see just how well it pays off for Jormungandr, who has AoE basics. It's definitely gonna benefit him more than others.
Thor was looking to size up for that one. He didn't get a chance to.
Ooh.
Chalk with the aggressive.
There we go. You know, you don't have probably your 2. Oh, as we see Bellona just lighting up this Terra. But it's interesting to note that oftentimes Thor will not get his 2 until maybe level 3, 4. You know, having a 2 there on the Chalk dash-in might have actually killed him there. Being in the middle of all that minion wave, and Nuwa's actually a lot more bursty than she was before, so you gotta be careful with that kind of aggression on her.
Jormungandr with the big 2 onto the Hui.
Yeah, watch the leap out, but half health is definitely a bad place to be level 2 into a Jingwei Yorm.
This might be bad for Jack.
Yeah. They gotta be careful here. I mean, I don't think Ruler's gonna necessarily pop out of nowhere and just... Maybe he does, you know, get a really quick gank off, but the axe combo is pretty visible to see. But if he can find a way to... Did he get blink? Yes, he did. To blink ult, that's gonna do a lot.
He's still level 3 though, so no blink ult yet.
Well, they got a little bit more time, maybe 2-3 minutes. Then the blinks come out to play.
Interesting note, Thor has backed. Thor has
backed already.
Chalk is
not.
Grab
tier 2 boots. You know, I'm not a big fan of backing to grab tier 2 boots, just because I think there's a lot more farm you can probably grab on the map. You see, as he left his left back camps up. You know, ideally he grabs those left back camps, and he might be able to hit 5 with this blue buff. And probably has maybe enough gold to get his tier 3 boots, and on a Thor gank with full boots, there's going to be a massive advantage. Just absolutely massive.
Thor is ahead in farm though. Chalk just hit level 4. Thor was already level 4 when he cleared that blue.
So it's going to be interesting to see if he can push that lead out. I mean, I'm pretty sure he has a little bit more consistent clear than Chalk in terms of jungle camps and stealing them. So I want to see if he's able to just push that lead.
The Bellona in right lane has so much pressure on Brockus right now.
Yeah, and that's going to be big. Bellona ganks are not fun.
He can do so much coming out of the jungle.
Yeah, for sure.
I wonder if Jormungandr might hit level 5 early here. They have
it's definitely something to see. I mean, if Yorm can hit that level 5, he can definitely force some things to happen in lane. Maybe force a back, just because the amount of damage that ult can really do. It looks like they probably
might be coming over
this lane as Thor is coming for a gank. Not sure this is a good gank. He's ulting right now. Who's he gonna ult on? Probably Jingwei with that setup. That's a great turn. Jingwei's gonna ult out. He's gonna chase, and she's gonna get out safely. Very close, but here's Chalk with the counter gank. Nothing's really gonna happen here though. Very good ult. It's gonna force Jingwei back, which I think is really gonna help with the counter pressure. But you gotta wonder if just another auto or two, maybe a little bit better communication, would have sealed the deal, but it's tough to say.
Raijin with the cheeky gank here onto the...
Oh, he's Raijin putting down this damage. No mana to ult, though.
He might have had that kill if he had been...
Yeah, that's tough to say. He has the mana for an ult, and that's a free kill.
Thor already resetting for that yellow.
Strong. Oh, terribly aggressing in lane.
Brockus turned it around. Bellona has that back, but Brockus has.
And that'll do it. Look at Bellona's first back. She's going to pick up something probably pretty solid for a power spike. Way to stop the back, though. He's running this lane. You got to be careful on Terra. Just the range on that, you know, stun, it's insane. You got to back behind tower and be more careful.
If Bologna had back there, this would have been a great gank for Thor.
Oh, this
Instead, we
is
see the big Terra ult.
Oh, here we go. Look at that. Oh,
This
got
might be a
cocky.
kill.
Oh, what an ult from Nuwa. That Nuwa might have just scared off that Thor from committing. And a really good counter gate from Chalk. I think had they committed to Terra, they actually would have probably gotten double killed. As we see Nuwa kind of pushing out the root in lane. Can she get a big stun here? He's going to dash out. Doesn't look possible if he can maybe sneak it. Interesting to see that Nuwa hasn't leveled her 2 to have 2 minions. Interesting.
I think in lane, when you're clearing, the 3 might be more valuable. It does do more damage.
I agree that the 3 is more valuable, but around this time, from playing Nuwa, I see that your 3-1 offers pretty good clear naturally, but your kill potential spikes immensely when you have 2 minions up. Interesting to see as Thor is able to dash out in time.
Something to notice, Jormungandr has finished stacking his blessing already. Oh, so Yamoja just finished. Yamoja just finished.
That's huge. What a stun from Hou Yi, putting a big damage. Does Jingwei have ult up? Yes, she does. I think this could be a really, really good gank right now for Thor. I don't think he recognizes it. Thor is on the other side of the map. Looks like he was planning to back, but he's going to go get his yellow right now. Jingwei's going to steal that farm.
She's out clearing Hou Yi so hard.
Yeah.
Which, in my opinion, should not be the case.
It shouldn't.
Hou Yi's clear should be so good.
Alright, so you see Chalk taking oracles as they go to fight him there.
This might be a fight.
What's going to happen? Interesting to see. Oh, look at all this damage being put up. This Chalk is going to combo. Great Yamoja ult, but it doesn't matter because Jormungandr has his ult. With a knockup, can they finish off the Raijin though? Oh, it's going to take his one more axe combo. Can he get it? There we go, and a great cleanup. Oh, this Jormungandr is playing very aggressive on your tower. Can he get the kill? He's taking a lot of aggro. He does not, and the storm misses, but he's able to get him on the back. No! And then maybe guys were trying. Oh man!
Kill on the Yamoja. What a great rotation by Skipper.
Man, that's tough. I gotta say, We Need Wards blew a huge chance there. An absolutely massive chance.
Chalk almost died. That could have been a double kill for the Thor.
Yeah, it could have been a double kill. It could have been 2-2 right now. Instead, we're looking at 3-0, and that's a big lead to push as people look for their first, gold theory of the match. It's gonna be interesting to see.
With that rotation got a kill, and that gave him a huge advantage on the Hou Yi. He has 33 stacks on his Devos.
Compared to 19. We're talking maybe a wave or two. No, certainly a wave or two. Maybe
Something
2 or 3 ahead.
Something interesting to note. Consanity has opted for Devos in the solo lane.
Interesting.
Something I have never seen before.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's for survivability against Terra. That might really come back to bite her, though. If Terra maybe grabs a Divine or just some form of anti-heal, maybe something that offers a little more power, I think Divine's a solid option. This Terra could easily turn this fight very hard.
Terra has some defense, though, so she might outbox the Bologna.
Yeah, I think, like I said, if you at the point, which is, Tyrannical Helm, or planning to get it, I'm not a big solo laner, so I don't know.
There are 3 people using Bologna right now.
Yeah, I would too.
Ruler is zoning.
Kind of seems like a lot of back and forth. Do they commit on the Bologna? They don't.
That would have been a great rotate over.
Yeah, 3. Could have forced out a lane, given Terra time to back. But at the end of the world, as Hou Yi has pretty low health. Thor was in late jungle kind of moving back and forth, trying to see what was available. He missed probably a pretty good opportunity.
Skipper got those back again.
Yeah, he's just running it. Like I said, I think this Thor needs to show himself a little bit more in left lane. Just get some pressure back towards Hou Yi because he's losing this very hard, and you don't want to lose lane to a Jingwei.
Jingwei, if she gets ahead, is insane because when she gets her crit online, she hits so hard.
Yeah, and he's definitely losing this fight right now. I mean, Skipper's up 2-0. Grabbing every Void, grabbing every Harpy. Right now it's 10-11 in terms of levels, but it could easily be 2 or 3 levels ahead late game. You see a lot of movement in mid. Doesn't look like anybody's going to commit to anything. This Stor's going to throw his
some poke damage.
Yeah, Chalk's going to throw his axe in. Doesn't really get anything. Does get chunked by Raijin.
Thor says, "I'm just taking these camps.
Yeah,
I'm not here for you."
Thor just wants to farm. Unfortunately, so does Shock. Oh, and
he missed the ult. Great ult by Emoji to get out.
Thor's ulting. Who's he gonna land on? Shock has mana. Shock could easily die here. He absolutely misses, but the Shock is gonna get cleaned up.
Great kill by Limey.
Great kill by Limey, recognizing the no mana, but Emoji's gonna pay for it hard. And
Bellona's in the back. Bellona's in the back line.
Oh, Bellona's diving.
Oh, but she's targeting the Terra. That might not have been the right choice.
That Bellona certainly saved that Raigen's life. No question about it. That Raigen should be dead right now. As
Jack turned it around!
Can he get this one?
Jack gets Skipper! What a ton of events in lane. Great job, Jack. We
weren't able to really see what happened, mostly due to the team fight in mid, but it kind of looks like Skipper was pushing his luck there.
Middle tower.
Being a little aggressive. Down. Yeah, that's huge.
I'm surprised Sheriff was able to take that by himself, honestly.
Yeah, we see Hoi looking to grab a little bit more farm, but like I said, this has really been, team fights being turned. Like I said before, it's going to be that, but great recognition from Limey to see that Ruler had no mana. Following up on that, I think he just caught him with the ult, but really big rotation from that Bellona to save, from Bellona, yeah, to save Raigen. That Raigen looked like he was going to go down. He was kind of caught in an awkward spot. But like I said, this is definitely just communication and good rotations. This door misses that. And I suspect Yamoja, not really sure what that was about.
Ruler is level 9. He needs to farm. He should not be fighting right now.
Yeah. I agree. Ruler is taking some pretty suspect fights.
Great
for it. Wow.
Great ult.
Yeah, not really sure what really planned on doing there. Threw the counter gank onto this Terra, but Terra's already up lane.
This is an ult.
Oh no. Very suspect moves from both junglers there. I don't know what Ruler planned on doing 3 levels down to a Bellona, especially when Bellona had full health. And was pretty much under her tower, and was super late Thorol. I think it's a good opportunity for both of them just to regroup, maybe farm a little bit more, but...
Somehow, Skipper still got pressure. Yeah,
Skipper's just a great laner. He's gonna take the Void right here. He's gonna box, knowing that Hoi can't really step up unless he wastes his leap.
Hoi did a great job of doing damage, though.
Wow, what a play! Is he gonna waste his lead? Can he hit the rest? Wow,
Jack
Skipper
with another
is really...
kill on Skipper. Skipper is better than
Skipper
this.
Squandering this lead. Skipper is better than this. It's interesting to see, but you gotta give props to Jack for really turning these fights.
Jack is noticing every advantage he has, and he's taking it.
For sure. I understand wanting to push your lead when you're up 2-0, but you have to know when to, fold your cards if you're Skipper. Getting caught out, stealing Void Camp is just... not a great move. Now he's ahead. Advantage. Yeah, he's a level advantage, and they're both stacked under Devourer's Gauntlet. You just gotta wonder at what point does Skipper realize that maybe, just going to take farm in other places would probably be a little bit more beneficial. As we see Raigen getting dove, does he have ult? He does!
A great kill.
Spooky caught out. And a really poor timing on the ult. They're going to turn it most likely. They are with this Yamoja. Oh, they just get him. Jack gets him.
Doing a great job.
Yeah, Jack is really doing a good job of turning the game in his favor. I mean, oh wow, look at that stun.
Oh, you're
a ton of damage.
Good. It might combo it.
Oh, you got Jimmy from the back. Skipper once again, not in great positioning.
That's his dash.
That is his dash. This is kind of uncharacteristic of Skipper. We're seeing a 3-0 lead from Atrocity turn to a 5-5. We need Ward just finding their, speed in this battle, but that's kind of a lazy back by Yamoja. Lucky that Skipper doesn't see. She's going to try to steal Oracles, but not really worth, but...
She should have just backed.
Yeah, that was risky. Definitely. You don't want to provide Jingwei any chance to get back, especially for support in jungle. But if you look at the golden hand, Hoi has 1,800. definitely a chance to get a really big item here, a really big power spike, because he goes for Atalantas, and he gets a Sentry as well.
Skipper's going to take that purple again.
Yeah, it's free farm.
He will not be left behind in this game.
Oh, Skipper will make sure that he stays on levels, but the question is, had Skipper just been a little bit more careful, could this be 17 to 14 on lead advantage? Could it be, you know, left tier 1, maybe half of left tier 2 done? You know, you don't think so?
Jack has been playing it very well.
I agree, but on the backs, it's hard to say. You know, just late game when an ADC backs once, how different the lane can change.
There's a ward fight going on around the right side of mid lane. They're just centering right there over and over again.
Couldn't be me. Could not be me.
Oh, we know you don't win at all.
Now last season couldn't be me. So we see Chalk looking at this red. Yeah, gotta be careful with Chalk. Something I've noticed about this Chalk is he's burning his axe pretty often to initiate and not thinking of his escape out when he initiates. And I've seen a lot of turns on that.
Bologna is fighting a 2v1 and she says, I don't care.
Somebody thinks to release Bologna. She's getting hit pretty hard here. As a throw lands on Jormungandr. Can he turn it? No. But still, this Hera is low. This Jormungandr ulting out. Nothing's gonna happen as Jack can literally pick each other off. That's huge. That's absolutely massive, you know,
Skipper getting collapsed on. This might be big.
If Skipper dies here...
Skipper gets out.
He does get out. That's tough. You know, it could have been tier 1 left gone. Skipper's going to have to retreat a little bit, farm up, back.
Skipper is the highest level on Atrocity. He should be a priority target right now for this Thor.
Yes, he should. And like I said, I haven't seen that Thor really in left lane at all. He's had some fascination with solo lane, ulting in 3 or 4 times. You know, typically when you play Thor, you're looking to kind of show your weight in lane, and he's really been living in jungle and solo for the most part.
If we take a second to look at the player damage on Bologna right here, she is
absolutely insane.
4,000 damage ahead of anyone else in this game.
Yeah, that'll do it. You know, we kind of criticized her for her build before, but like I said, it is giving her sustainability in lane. You know, especially with
one might go down the right lane, and it does.
Oh, that's a big step.
Ruler with a gank.
Well, it does gank this Bologna. Can he make anything out of it? I don't think so, being 2 levels down. Yeah, if you take a quick look at the wards placed as Jack chases Jang, the Thorol, he's not going to be within range to hit. That's going to be a wasted Thorol. Oh, man. You know.
I think he got oracles. He got something with the ult, right?
I guess, but it's just, you know, your ult's going to be down for almost a minute now. You know, if I'm the enemy jungle, if I'm Ruler, I'm really looking at that and thinking, you know, how can I throw my weight around? The big stat to look at is Ruler with 5 wards placed, you know, and I'm not one to talk as a jungle who doesn't ward, but I think one of the big things that brought my jungle game up was realizing how important wards can be, and, you know, just seeing where the enemy movements have been. I think it's huge for Ruler to just ward a little bit more, maybe find out when people are on buffs and invade, as Jingwei looks to take left tier 1 and doesn't.
Hey Noah, do you remember at level 15 when Jack was a level ahead of Skipper?
Yeah.
Skipper has turned this around entirely.
Yeah, Skipper knows how to farm as he's fighting Jack pretty hard in left lane.
They team fight in middle lane though.
As we see Raijin coming out some damage, Chalk and Nuwa both going to left to see what they can do. No, they're going to start on gold. No, they're going left. Not sure I agree with going left instead of starting gold. They're going to grab tier 1 and push Holy back.
Ruler has 0 mana.
Like I said, this is one of those times where having Thor ult up would be huge. Absolutely massive, but it's not up. Recognizing that the enemy jungler has no mana is really big. This Jormungandr gets caught out. Now he's going to get set up. I gotta be honest, I'm not... Oh, looks like Raijin's gonna fall here. Yep, Ruler cleans him up with the little bit of mana. Maybe he progged Chalk passive as he gets ulted on. Thor's getting blown up too, and blimey pays. Just another rough ult. I mean, I know chasing a kill's super big, but, you know...
They're gonna turn this into Gold Fury.
Yeah, we're looking at Gold Fury, or, you know, if they could have opted to go for left T2 and then gold and maybe, you know, grab fire, but... You know, I think the biggest thing we've seen is it hasn't been great play from We Need Wards so far outside of Jack. Jack has been playing pretty phenomenally into Skipper, given what Skipper can really do in lane. But outside of that, mid struggled. This Yamoja, I think it's played decently for the most part, except for one suspect ult. I think the biggest thing, though, is not utilizing Thor to his full potential. I think it's really, really hurting.
The difference here might be that Sheriff has shown his face everywhere. He's been all over the map.
I agree.
It shows in the 2-level advantage he has on the Yamoja as a support. A level 12 Yamoja might not contribute as much as you think to a team fight. Despite the ult.
I mean, I agree. So, I think one of the biggest things to focus on a support is their kill involvement. Obviously, supports aren't going to grab a lot of kills, but you want to look at their KA, compared to the total amount of kills. Are they being involved? Are they making the rotations necessary and being there when they need to be there? And 2 to 5 is sizable, especially at this point in the game. Like I said, there wasn't a lot of lane pressure out of this store. As you can see him level 16 to, 20 for that Jing Wei. It's almost impossible to gank that Jing now.
At this point, Jing Wei is just running amok.
Yeah,
she can do whatever she wants.
Yeah, and you gotta look to keep that Jing Wei from hitting level 20, as much as possible.
And the team fight starts in mid.
You see Terra chase down this Rage and absolutely pumping out damage. The Terra ult is up, Chalk going in, getting signs from this Balone, or Disarm rather. That's a great new wall stun, it sets up huge.
And this is where the level 30
crashing in, chasing the most around the tower as a Terra ult popped. Are we gonna chase any further? Yamoja's gonna go down. As we see Terra gonna collapse on Balone. Did she get the last hits? Jinx taking a ton of damage from the storm. This is a huge fight going on. Is this Terra gonna collapse? She's buying a lot of time. Bologna cleans her up. Mid tier 2 is gonna go most likely though. Thor goes in, doesn't really have a stun. Bologna get caught out. She does. Spooky picks up Skipper. Wow, a lot of team fighting going on. Wow, this is.
What a team fight turn.
Yeah, you gotta wonder. You take mid tier 2, do you just turn around and run? I think you do, but they kind of overstayed a little, Yeah, with the amount of time that Terra bought them.
This might be a tier 2 for Jack.
Yeah. With the amount of time that Terra bought, you just would have wondered how they just, focused tower, turn around and ran. It makes sense. It makes sense. You push the tower in, you get mid pressure. Don't want to commit too hard on a new wall or a chalk. But, I mean, Jack is just showing up now. As hard as he is, he's really just keeping this team involved with 7 out of the 10 kills.
I would like to take a second to look at the consumables for both teams. Both teams are just loaded up on wards all over the map.
They're gonna jockey right now for first fire. I think at this point, if Atrocity gets fire, we're looking at, what should be a win. So I think it's gonna be really good for winning wards. Yeah, I would agree, but I think having mid tier 2 down and just being able to pop out to either left or right, grab that next tier 2. I think if somehow Skipper finds a way to get a solo pick and push left lane or dual lane for that matter, this could be really big.
Skipper might get this pick. Is he going to chase this?
Yes, he is, but he's not going to get it. Takes Tower out though instead.
He leaves though. This is what I mean by
Moja just getting lit up. Yeah.
Northern Thunder is doing everything right now.
The amount of damage being put up. This Yamoja basically is out of the next team fight if they do decide a team fight. I mean, being down half health, maybe even I would say she's at about 60%. Level 13, it's going to be tough.
She just needs to get in a lane and get farmed somewhere.
I was pretty critical of Ruler earlier on in the match, but looking at it, being involved in 9 out of the 11 kills, he might not be necessarily fragging, but I've been paying attention a little bit more in his, team fight. He's definitely a lot more present as he goes towards a hybrid build, which is, typical of Chalk jungle. But he's just really pumping out some solid damage, and, Thor might be ahead 1 level, but I think in the fights, the jungle diff from Thor versus Chalk has been pretty noticeable. As it looks like Emoji's going to get caught out. Big ult from
With the big rise, who he has to
a lot of damage being pulled up. Don picks up Jack and shuts him down. Emoji should go here. Emoji is probably going to fall here. Oh, what a wall from... Oh, what a wall from Limey. Saves them, but does...
Bologna is fighting this Emoji to the death. She says, I have Evo too. Oh, but Rule is going to come in.
It's a great rotation over. Queen's just being out of position there. This is probably going to be Primal. You know, it could have even have been Fire at this point.
I was just about to say that. They were 5 men strong into 3.
Yeah, 5 to 3. You know, their ADC is not coming back for the next 15 seconds. I think Fire might have been the better call.
I agree.
Let's take a look at a build. Every build seems pretty standard for the most part.
Are they going to call Fire now? At half mana?
That's pretty suspect. Not sure if I agree with it, but they do have level advantage. Looks like they're just going to take Pyro, though.
They might just settle for Pyro and call it a day.
What they could do is they could easily... Maybe... I mean, I'm looking at level advantage. The only big advantage is Storm.
If they all back here, We Need Wards could pull off a sneaky Fire Giant.
I don't think it's in the cards for them, though. Level 13 Yamoja, I don't think she's going to be taking a lot of hits from a 26-minute Fire Giant.
They have 3 level 20s and a level 19 Thor. They could burn that pretty quickly if they decide to.
I do agree, but what's the likelihood of them burning it? You know, I mean, Terra's teleports up, so Terra can do a sneaky, you know, little teleports to a ward. One thing I noticed, I don't think you have yet, is the quadruple shell on Atrocity's side.
I'm not even going to talk about it. That is an Atrocity signature. Every game they go quadruple shell and all chalices.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna give them a ton of team fight, and I can understand why they've just been able to just sustain so much. Let's just talk about this new Waz KDA 2 to 10, absolutely abusing that new wall at the perfect times, getting those assists off.
Don is doing a great job.
Yeah, for sure, being super safe, knowing when to pick and choose his fights, rather than getting caught out in jungle. Like, we've seen Spooky get caught out in jungle a few times. Not a terrible game from anybody in particular, but I think it's definitely in Atrocity's favor right now, as Emotions is taking a ton of damage.
It looks like everyone is just grouping around the Fire. This might be a fight that leads to Fire Giant.
Well, it looks like they're committing. It is going to be a fight. This Emoja absolutely got the win.
Takes out the Emoja.
As we see, Ryza, is that a taunt ult? It is. That's Choxin.
Oh, with the big ult on
Limey. Are they going to chase down this Terra? They're going to get the roots off. Looks like Limey's going to pay for it, though. Skipper chases him down. This Ryza is super low. Bellona staying out to fight, and she's most likely going to pay for it. She does. This is an easy fire. Yeah. You know, it's just one of those things where when you fight with fire behind you, you're just able to push the enemy deeper and deeper into their jungle and then just turn around. You gotta jockey for position, not fire, a little bit more efficiently, and I think we really see how We Need Wards was just out of position.
We Need War, the level 14 Emoji is really hindering them. She dies so early and loses.
I agree, you know, I saw maybe, you know, a small combo by Jormungandr, a third of her health was gone, and that just sets up the precedent for the rest of the team fight. When your main damage soaker is level 14, 30 minutes in, it's brutal. You gotta wonder, you know, going into game 2, do you hop on a support that's maybe more aggressive and can farm a little bit more? I mean, for the most part, I think it's just been this Emoja not even looking to farm.
You know, something important to note, Emoja did die with ult in that team fight.
Yeah.
Something my teammate Lucio would say is, I understand it's an ult and there's a long cooldown, but just pop it. If you're gonna die, just pop it.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to have enough of a cooldown at this point in the game anyways that when you come back, it's most likely about to be up.
Even full cooldown, it is still a 100-second cooldown.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, we're looking at 45-second, you know, timers. 55 seconds, you know, I mean, that is huge. But it's definitely better than nothing, especially if it can save one or two of your teammates at the end of the day.
You know what might be a great play here? Oni Fury comes up maybe in the next minute or so. If they push for that Oni and get Oni minions in every lane, they could do some serious damage to these towers.
At this point, it's only going to take 2. I think if they really just shove down lane, we need wards to kind of defend like they are right now, they can turn and burn Oni at any time. Thor's super out of position. They are going to turn on him. Looks like they are. He's going to get out, though. I'm interested in seeing that they're not going for Oni. Maybe they're going to go for right tier 2. They are.
They're going to sweep the tier 2s. They might sweep tier 2s and then call the Oni.
That's also possible. The questionable as to why they didn't go right tier 2 first, then hop back over to left lane and back to Oni. Not a huge deal, though, as they're just shredding it. Yeah, we need wards is pretty helpless to watch.
I think they're going to go start this Oni Fury.
There's more.
Just taking a look at the player damage, you can kind of see how far behind, we need wards is. I mean, 3 out of the top 4 are on Atrocity. Sorry, 3 out of the top 4. Am I going crazy? No, 3 out of the top 4 are on We Need Wards. So, Atrocity's ahead, mostly behind New Wad, is putting up a ton of damage. It's interesting.
Atrocity isn't pumping out numbers all the time, but they're pumping out numbers at the exact
right time. Yeah, I mean,
important.
It's interesting just to see that 3 out of the 4 are on We Need Wards, but they're 5 kills behind. 11 and 32 minutes about is pretty low. I think really what it's been is just Atrocity turning it up at the right moments. Ruler has had a substantially better late game. Substantially better. I mean, I think at one point he was 1 in 3 and like 2, something along those lines, that he's just turning it around right now, really showing off the full potential of Chalk.
That's the hard part about fighting into Atrocity. Late game, they have 2 huge tanks and 1 tank who puts up a lot of damage coming out of that jungle.
Yeah.
And Ruler, late game, he knows where to be.
Yeah, I agree. Ruler's just one of those, jungles that just says, screw it, I'm gonna really be where the team needs me to be. And I can't explain to you how important that is. If you look at the kill involvement from Ruler and Dawn, I mean, Ruler's been involved in 13 out of 16, Dawn in 14 out of 16. So they've just been there.
In left lane, Nuwa looked like she tried to gank the Thor. Just came around the corner and just put the full kit, and Thor said,
I'm telling you. I played Nuwa in a league match. I'm telling you, Nuwa go burr. She can burst, I'm telling you.
Nuwa can put up some crazy numbers.
Yes, she can, and that ult is annoying. But as we can see, the net worth, everybody in We Need Wards is higher. Sorry, not We Need Wards. I'm sorry, Atrocity. It's hard to see with the red versus blue and left and right. You know how it is. But no, Atrocity, they all have substantial goal advantage. I told you, getting a Yamoja ult that's good off on defense is huge, as they're going to be able to turn this.
Raijin ult, but he looked like he might have just wasted it.
He might have just popped himself in a bad spot.
Ruler picks up the Raijin kill.
Spooky is out of position. Liney's gone too.
Oh man. Left Phoenix. If they get one more kill, this could be game.
This will be game. Does Yamoja kill? Does she get killed? No. I mean, it's certainly going to be left Phoenix. I think they were in a good spot. I don't see the need, though, from Spooky to re-engage there with Raijin. Just putting himself in a bad spot to get, killed. It looks like they're going to push for end. They can get it off. Doesn't look like Hoi or Yamoja have ult up. This might be it.
A lot of damage to that Titan.
Yeah, this might be it. I don't think Hoi is able to just stop him, and that's rough. We're going to see it go 19 to 11. Jack really just trying his hardest, but, the rest of the team making suspect decisions that I think really ended up hurting them.
Definitely. I think a large part of this game comes down to communication. Atrocity's communication is on a different level.
Yeah, I told you. That was going to be the main thing going in this game. Who has better communication? And I think you really see it. I mean, both teams have been together for a while. But, Ruler, winning Best Jungle, Skipper winning League MVP and Best ADC last season, Don being a candidate for Most Improved, this is no team to sleep on. I think Sheriff Bub was also up there in the nominees for top support.
And
This is a
Brockus was an
strong
all-star.
team.
And Brockus was an all-star.
Brockus was an all-star over one Dookie 14.
Something crazy. I don't know how that happened, but good job to Brockus.
Yeah, it's unfortunate when you have one out of two casters that are all-stars. Couldn't be me, that
leave me
wasn't.
alone.
But
It
anyways,
happens.
looking at that's it. I don't know. Now we're going to look, as we spectate Skipper 13, we're going to spectate Skipper.
Actually, let's talk about the charts. So, an important thing to note is Yamoja never hit level 20.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, as a support, if you're not going to finish level 20, you got to at least be 18, 19. I mean, 17 is brutal. One other thing I want to just point out is below 10k damage with Thor. I'm not. I don't ever want to be the person that points out player damage, but when we're talking about Thor, who could just put up insane numbers early, especially, it's rough to see that out of Limey. I mean, I think the biggest thing was jungle, for both teams, was a weak point early in the game, but Ruler, just being Ruler, turned it up at the right times. I mean, finished 6, 6, and 10, but his team fight presence is understated.
The board numbers, Noah, every single player in double digits.
You know what I gotta say about double digits? If you're warding in double digits, you're not warding right. Single digit gang.
No.
We're here to stay.
No, you need to ward. Wards win games.
Well, if wards win games, then they definitely do need wards for this second matchup, because Atrocity is just such a stronger team in the team fight. I think if We Need Wards wants to win, they need to win in laning. And I think if we're going to have that happen, we need to see more aggressive picks. I mean, Yamoja can be both aggressive and defensive, but, when you're hitting level 17, you don't have the option to do either.
Tobias, can you take us back to the builds for a second? Let's talk about these builds, Noah. What do you think about any of these?
I think a huge pickup, just looking through, is really, the obvious soul gem on Nuwa, especially with Terra. That's just gonna burn. I mean, that Nuwa was putting up a ton of damage, waiting for the soul gem to stack. Clearly, Don knows how to play Nuwa. He had some great stuns too. It's hard to say. Most of the builds look standard. One of the things I want to point out, though, is I think Ruler's build, if you look at it, it's very tanky, but tanky in the right spots. So, typically we see people kind of go maybe protection, maybe look for an Ansile, which he could have gone going into Raijin or Yamoja. Actually, that might have been the greatest choice, but the Heartseeker's huge. So with the amount of pen he has, the anti-heal with Brawlers, he has Jotans for the cooldown, and then the shield and the hammer. He's just a unit, an absolute unit.
What I want to talk about?
Too. What?
The Raijin and the Yamoja never got to sell their blessing.
Well,
Atrocity
sometimes
stepped on their throat and just choked them out.
What are you going to do? I mean, just looking at the gold difference, only one of them really passed 17k, and that was Jack. The nearest person was just under 800 gold behind, and that was Spooky.
If Game 2 is going to go any difference, there has to be a bigger impact from Limey.
I agree. If you're going to hop on Thor, like I said before, you just need to have a lane presence. You need to. Thor does fall off late game unless you transfer to a more tanky build, just because he has to put himself in awkward positions. And he just kept the standard, just power build for Thor. And another thing I want to take a look at is he didn't really have a lot of power for a Thor build. So, if we're going to take a look at Thor build, he built Brawlers into power boots, which is fine going into a team that has pretty good healing early game. But he went for a really early game Erendite.
I'm not a fan of the early Erendite.
Yeah, if you're gonna go Erendite, you probably either A, have to have a pretty good lead, because Erendite is an absolutely insane power spike item when you're ahead. But being from behind, you gotta look for an item that maybe gives you a little bit more survivability. If you're gonna play Nuwa, do you look at an Ansile? If you're playing into, a Terra who has a root, maybe look for maybe a Magi's earlier, because he was getting blown up on a lot of those ganks.
He was looking for the Magi's last item. He never got to finish it.
Yeah, you got to grab it earlier, in my opinion, if you're going to be faced with that much CC. It's just tough to say, but I think the big thing was just, I think it's understated. I don't want to have to repeat it for the 10 millionth time, but Limey needs to put himself on a god that he can carry through laning. If you're going to play Thor, you just have to have that focus, or you have to at least tailor your build later. I think the biggest difference really here was Ruler putting himself in those good positions, Don putting himself in those good positions, and Sheriff Bob, just being everywhere, absolutely everywhere.
He's a monster. He will be in left lane at 1 second, and all of a sudden he's in the right lane. I don't know how he does it. He just comes out of the jungle with such an impact from the support lane.
Well, he is Jormungandr, so he could always just snake his way from lane to lane, but beyond that, he was just absolutely everywhere.
I think this second game, as we start up, might come down to just communication. That's the key to this game. Because in team fights, Atrocity is just always in the right place at the right time, and they have each other's backs with those 4 shells for some reason.
Yeah, we criticize Atrocity with 2 T's from Tobias. You love to see it.
That's Tobias.
Yeah, Tobias, 2 T's for Toby. But I agree. I think going into this next game, as we see a Cupid ban for Skipper, he will never be allowed to play him.
Never.
We see an Amma ban back. But I think this game just needs to be predicated on communication and a team comp. I think a lot of the time there was no synergy and we need to ward this team fights, and I think we need to look at, or they need to look at least a better cohesion in that aspect, as we see a Scylla ban into Spooky.
They banned out Sheriff Bub's Nike again.
Interesting to see. Sheriff Bub definitely showed just how strong he can be on Yorm. His success on Yorm last game, I think, was really underrated, and maybe is flying a little under the radar. It's going to be interesting to see who he picks up here, if he might run it back.
Skipper gets the Jingwei again. They banned out Don Scylla.
Yeah,
that's not for Don. That's for Spooky.
Spooky. From playing with Don, he's actually a pretty good Scylla. I think the ban is more, obviously, just for Spooky, as we see a Ganesh getting picked up, maybe. Ooh, not really a fan of this run back on Thor from Limey.
Maybe not he said, this is what I'm confident in, and I just need to run it back.
Yeah, but even then, it's not a matter of confidence. It's a matter of just knowing how to properly build and use. Maybe he can change my mind and turn it around. Maybe we'll see something a little different. Maybe that was just a warm-up game. But going into Game 2, when you're down 1-0, you want to look at just a comp that's going to get you there. As we see Yorm being put up for Sheriff and Shock being brought back from Ruler, they're pretty much saying run it back.
If they get to run it back, if they get to run it back exactly, the game might have the same result.
I agree. That team comp was just good, and it worked for them. You gotta wonder they only took 1 tower that entire game. That's a pretty thorough stomping. Do you just, bite the bullet and ban out the remaining pieces? Do you ban out Bologna? Do you ban out Nuwa? As they head for Merlin, I think that's not a bad pickup, actually. leaving it open. I think Merlin at third pick is really solid. I think Merlin might actually play better into this Ganesha than previously thought. If Ganesha catches you in ult and you're just sitting there eating Merlin abilities, it's going to be a really long day for you, regardless of how tanky you are.
It is possible that they might let the Odin go and just say we're all gonna have a way to get out.
We'll see. So we see the Hou Yi band. Not sure Hou Yi. Actually, we had a pretty good game on Hou Yi. I think Skipper also played well into it. I think Skipper's only issue was just being a little too careless. But I think Skipper, for the most part, was fine into the Hou Yi in early laning. They're going to ban out the new Wa, I just noticed, for Dawn, which I think is a perfectly fine pick. They're banning out Hachiman now for Jack. So we're going
I
to
think
see.
they're targeting Jack hard because Jack really kept his team in that game.
Yeah, I agree. I think if Jack maybe doesn't make the right calls and reads at certain points against Skipper, I mean, that game could have been over in 15-20.
I'm wondering what they're going to run out of this solo getting this time. Because Consanity had a great game on Bologna, but there might be something better than the Bologna for this team.
I mean, we're just going to see now. I think they're just deliberating pretty hard with who they're going to bring out. Who do you think fits well into Ganesha, possibly, from Jack's perspective, after getting banned out Hou Yi? As we see Rama, Rama's just pretty solid all around. Probably one of the top ADCs. It's going to be interesting to see if Jack is mechanically good enough to pick off Skipper with those really good high power ults. As we see Guan Yu getting picked up. And Baba Yaga. Baby
Don on the
Yoker.
Baba Yaga. Don's Baba Yaga.
Oh boy. I like this into Merlin just because of how safe Baba Yaga can be with her dash out. The RNG could also kind of screw Don over at some point, but we're gonna see. As Brockus is gonna opt for the Chalk this time, and Ruler is gonna be on Guan Yu. Interesting.
Oh.
Guan Yu into Thor.
Ruler's Guan Yu it's strange coming out of the jungle, but he tends to just run into the lane, pop the ult, cancel it, and get that stun.
Yeah, if you can get pretty good Guan Yu ults off, you can rely on your mid to do the rest. Would have maybe liked a mid that has a more solid ult, a high power ult, like Scylla. Obviously, Scylla's being banned out. Not sure if the Guan Yu stun is great for Baby Yogurt, but we're gonna see how it works going into the lanes.
I remember the Baba Yaga ult. Baba Yaga ults in the jungle where Atrocity loves to teamfight really supports their teamfight capabilities. They communicate, and then the Baba Yaga ult comes down, and they can do some seriously crazy stuff.
If Baba Yaga is able to put her ult on critical choke points, she's basically able to cage them in. And with the amount of damage that Chalk and Guan Yu can kind of put up, Guan Yu has obviously a heal, which isn't his greatest ability. It's a flat heal. It could still kind of give him an extra amount of health or tankiness that he has in the fight. I think right now, looking at the gods from a fundamental perspective, I like Weenie Ward's comp a little bit more. But I'm not sure I fully believe in their ability to take down Atrocity in their team fight.
Honestly, this comes down to how good Ganesha can be.
Yeah, I mean, Achilles is strong. Achilles is super strong. Chalk, is the god of stalemates. He's not going to win lane or lose lane if Brockus just plays him as he's supposed to be played. But Rama and Merlin are going to be absolutely massive late game. And how well Taboo, I'm not sure how to say his name, is able to really synergize with Jack and Spooky is going to be absolutely huge.
Honestly, if Ganesha can hit his ult consistently and stun people on that line, he might do some crazy stuff this game.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a little bit tougher just with Bobby. I mean, Bobby Yaga has a CC Immuno, Guan Yu has CC Immuno, Chalk has CC Immuno, same thing with Yorm and Jing. I mean, it's going to be hard for Ganesha to just lock them down. But if they don't have ult up, it's also going to be really rough for them to escape.
That is true. I think Consanity might have a larger impact on the Achilles. Because we saw in the last fight, a lot of times Atrocity got out with just a little bit of health. And if Consanity can get into that back line and just start ulting people left and right, he has the capability to take out some crazy people back there.
I agree, and the biggest thing is just going to be, in my opinion, if Coonsanity is able to win his lane, somehow, beat the stalemate god Chalk, Achilles' rotations are very hard to deal with. That stun is huge. If that stun's powered up, it's huge. Having it execute on ganks, huge. So I think the key here is maybe just, trying your hardest to get that pressure in solo and pushing your way through.
It's important to note that the Chalk into Achilles can be an interesting lane because just as Chalk gets under the threshold, he knows he's under the threshold because of the market. He could just pop his heal. And now all of a sudden, the ult might not be so effective.
Yeah, if you're gonna, beat him, if I'm Coons, I'm probably looking at an early game Brawlers. Just able to put up that damage and still have that anti-heal is going to be really, really big. Without anti-heal, this Chalk is pretty much just going to sit under tower, heal up, and say, that's fine with me because I'm not going to let you rotate. If you go to rotate, I'm going to clear, I'm going to take it, and then I'm going to rotate.
Honestly, if Consanity gets some clean rotations this lane to the middle lane, he can have an impact in the middle lane.
A huge impact.
His early game clear isn't very good though, so Chalk might outclear him.
No, Chalk will outclear him. The big thing is also Chalk just having, free abilities with his passive. Achilles just burns a lot of mana to be able to clear. He's going to burn a lot of mana. So, if I'm playing Ruler, especially playing Guan Yu, who's just tanky and has the ability to maybe stay in, box for a buff camp, I'm probably looking at choking that Achilles out if I can.
Baba Yaga walked all the way up to the middle lane and back. She took her house for a walk.
Mad lad, but not lad, mad lass. She's an absolute mad lass.
Baba Yaga starts the game with 14 stacks on a Mage's Blessing.
I'm telling you, Baby Yogurt is underrated.
You like what you see?
So we see when just boxing for their camps. Looks like Yorm's gonna beat her there to lane, or him. Yep, and get that little bit of clear. That's Yorm's just ability to hit that level 2 early. Now Rama's kind of just sitting there getting blasted pretty hard. A lot of trading going back and forth.
As Jormungandr hits level 2 here.
Yep, here we go. And this Ganesh is taking a ton of damage, and so is this Rama. Oh man, is this going to be an early game kill? Yes, it is. Oh man, this is not the start you're looking at if We Need Wards.
Man, that's the power of the level 2, the Ghost Minion start.
Yeah, you gotta be there if you're Ganesh. I wouldn't even say you have to be there. It's just what can you do into a Jormungandr with AoE basics. Just always being able to get that level 2 over you. If you're... there's not much he can even do from, the standpoint of protecting Jack. Jack was just pretty far up, not having his leap yet, or his roll. As we see this Achilles putting the hurt on Chalk. Oh boy. Oh yes he is. Chalk's fighting back though.
He pushes Chalk back into the tower. What a great job by Consanity.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he's not going to go down without a fight as Skipper already hits level 3. Full health, full mana. Yikes.
I believe that the dual lane should have been turtling very early under their tower.
I agree.
Rama and Ganesha don't outclear Jormungandr.
Definitely not. Some really good damage being put up from Merlin. Baba Yaga's going to hit level 4 first. As we see Shifty Foot Dawn dodge the Arcane.
I think something important might be that if Thor ults into the middle lane, Dawn can just counter ult.
Yeah, counter ult him. If he's building any form of lifesteal, this Thor is basically a walking fountain. What can you really do? I think the big thing so far is looking at solo lane. Raucus is taking a beating by Coons pretty early. This is exactly what we're talking about. If Coons is able to have a good impact early, just look at that.
If I was
It's huge right now.
If I was Insanity, I'd be pushing these minions.
Oh, not sure if that was a good move in by Chalk. He's going to take a lot of damage. Oh, is he going to be able to be countered off here? Hit those autos. Dash, one more auto or two. Oh, rough to see. As we see the counter gank, Guan Yu's going to come in, hit him with a dash, and the slice. And this is going to be a big turn. Oh, no. Let me tell you something. If Coons dies there, I would be, if I was Coons, I'd be very upset with Limey. Limey went in, just threw out his 2 and walked away. Didn't try to put up any damage. You know, you got to make a better effort. I mean, if Coons dies there against a Chalk who can just heal, that's pretty much screwing up your early game plan. That was really close. A little too close to risk.
If Chalk gets ahead early game, he can be really hard to stop in the solo.
Yes, exactly, and I'm telling you. So we see Baba Yaga go back to clear those camps. Same thing with Merlin and Thor. Thor still isn't at level 5. So he's a little behind as we see Ganesh and Rama clearing their side harpies. Still at level 5 as well. As we see Thor actually hit 5 right now. You gotta throw on that weight now. At the level 5 is Thor.
Skipper and Yorm are level 5. They can take this fight and win.
I agree.
As they back off, they said, nope, we're just gonna farm this.
You know, oh, here we're gonna see a little bit of a fight in mid. Interesting to not see Don ult on a pretty low health Merlin. Had a chance there. Achilles going off. He's gonna have ult up pretty soon as we see that come out. And a great, absolutely huge heal from Guan. Like you said, Steven, that heal saves him.
The Chalk heal will save him from Achilles ult.
Guan Chalk, that's what I meant, my bad. Yeah, that was an absolutely huge heal from Chalk. I said Guan, look at me. Smite's it's a confusing game. But we see him in a better spot right now than this Achilles is, and he's able to regress. Jingwei's alone.
If Achilles uses his dash to clear, that's a free kill for Brocketeer if he capitalizes. He can just ult and just beat him slowly down with basics if he slows him.
Yeah, just looking at the gold, you know, Atrocity is at a pretty good spot early. Doesn't look like there's a lot of gold for. Oh, look at these ults.
Jack
Gets him.
really didn't.
Oh, you gotta wonder. You gotta wonder. Just hitting that last one, how huge that could have been for the early game. As we see a ton of damage being put out, Guan with the rotation. Rama has no mana. This is going to be huge as he hits the stun. One more leap. He's going to get him. Sure, it's a great play. Absolutely huge. Thor is extremely late to this rotation. As we see Merlin taking a ton of damage. Does Don ult this time? He's going to dash in aggressively. He's not going to ult. But this is going to be a pretty good... Oh, man, we're seeing... Oh, he's going to miss it.
Ruler is
just double-keying him, not letting him have a chance. Ruler's going to say, okay, you take those backhands. I'm taking the more important farm that you can't contest.
Limey's just going to have a rough game.
Yeah, like I said, it's not a matter of, you know, the god or anything, you know, in particular. He just seems to be late on rotations consistently. He had a lot of time to make a counter rotation in duo, and he was never there. Oh, good Ganesha.
Great Ganesha.
As we see Guan Yu getting pieced, are they able to turn it? They're not. 3 low health people, and I'm telling you, once again, Limey is just late.
Limey needs to be there.
Late. He has ult up. He's in his speed camps. He can probably reach and maybe get a kill or a double, and he just doesn't. He's getting contested hard, wastes his mana, and he's taking a ton of health as Romagon is going to get rotated on. He's probably going to get ulted here. Does he have ult to get out? He does. Doesn't look like anything in particular is going to come out of this. Actually, doesn't have ult up. Very risky by Sheriff, but, I mean, how do you not punish that?
I'm not sure. I think Limey just ulted for the wrong reasons. There's no reason to ult the support.
If I'm Limey, I'm hustling the left lane. You have Jingwei in your tower proxying wave. You gotta be there. Skipper so far ahead, but look at this great rotation. Oh, huge miss by Ganesha. Merlin's putting up a ton of damage. Is Jingwei gonna ult out? She does. Is it too late though? Looks like Merlin's pathing better. But that's a Jingwei ult wasted, and once again, Limey just didn't rotate. He's just farming, taking his yellow buff. I'm not really sure, what that's about.
It's important to note he is 2 levels behind Hulu, so he does need to farm. He can't be at every fight anymore.
I know, but I understand that, but regardless of a farming or not, if an ADC is proxying at 8 minutes in and is in your tower clearing your waves, you gotta gank. I mean, we saw that obviously from Ganesh and Merlin. They did a pretty good amount of damage. Not their fault that, sorry, it escaped me. Jingwei had ult. But you gotta have a little bit more presence. As he's trying to box this Guan Yu, they're looking to turn it though. He's getting hurt. And is able to just escape. I'm trying to look at what's going on around the map, really. Looks like solo lane's pretty much been a stalemate right now.
That's the slap fight lane. Over there, nothing really happens often unless somebody ganks.
I think the biggest thing to see is just a 9-7, now 9-8 lead from Ruler. Jingwei also hitting 9, 2 levels ahead of Rama now, who's died 2 times. They've certainly been focusing him a little bit more, which makes sense considering Jack was the strongest player last game.
So, something you should note is that look how far ahead of in his build Achilles is than the Chalk. He's a whole item ahead, and he's already finished stacking Warrior's Blessing.
If Tobias wants to go to Golden Hand, he just... Thank you, Tobias. You read my mind. Chalk has nearly 3k gold in hand. He should probably think about just heading home. It's getting to that point where maybe if he stays out a little too long, it could end up hurting him a lot more than he thinks.
Chalk picked up Bradfield. I'm not too sure about that one. Bradfield got changed, and it's not as useful as it used to be anymore.
I mean, the shield's definitely got a rework. I mean, you can see how, different Berserker is, for example. Doesn't look like Chuck is going to hit that. He's going to go in, maybe burst him down a little bit. You got to wonder if another item is online for Chalk. Does he do a ton more damage or have kill potential here? Look at him boxing right now, just in the slow.
And Limey misses the ult.
Yeah, man, it's brutal at this point. Being another jungle in League, I don't like to, maybe be too toxic or criticize people, in their play, but Limey is brutal. As we see Brockus clean up Queen Sanity, despite one item being down. Actually, he backed and grabbed it anyways. What am I talking about? As we see Guan Yu ult out safely, that's huge. That's an absolutely massive solo pick in solo lane.
You see, the thing is, when you will an item like Soul Eater in the lane, and the enemy opts for defense, you don't have as much kill potential as you think you do. Despite the fact you do more damage, they're taking a lot more. Like, they're taking a lot less damage than you are.
Yeah.
And until you have Soul Eater stacked, you don't heal the way you need to counter the defense from the other enemy.
So, Bias, can you go to the XP and gold lead screen? As we see Ganesh get picked out here, Jing Wei is putting up a ton of damage. It seems like a turn on Merlin. She doesn't, as Jack picks up the kill. Don picks up the kill on Spooky. Yeesh. This is how quickly this game can go sideways as Thor wastes his wall. Man, this game is just getting worse and worse for We Need War. It's just getting picked out there. As we see, the XP and gold difference is massive right now.
A 5k gold difference 11 minutes in is absolutely crazy.
It's huge. As we're looking at tier 1 being taken, yes, it's going to push the gold lead even further, as well as the XP. We're looking at almost 7k difference in XP, 5.5k difference in gold.
Unless We Need Wards can pull something crazy out, this game could very well be already over.
Yeah, I mean 5-1, but it feels like 20-1 really right now with just how thorough, Atrocity's been, just farming and out farming and out farming, getting the solo picks in jungle for the pickoffs they need. Not a great Guan ult to waste contesting oracles, but when you're this far ahead, you can kind of do things without concern. As we see Merlin's blink down, this is the time to aggress. Can they do? He's taking a lot of damage. Look at these Baba Yaga ults, and Spooky out of position again, and you gotta wonder if he's seeing ghosts. We see Guan Yu rotating over to Ganesha with Ganesha's ult up, taking a ton of damage, and he's gonna get out. Chalk battling with Coons.
This is exactly what I meant when I said Sheriff is absolutely everywhere.
absolutely
Notice how
everywhere.
still has to be in left lane, but Sheriff got to help his mid lane get a kill.
Yeah, almost kind of wonder why Spooky opted to blink towards the jungle there instead of just backwards towards his tower. That blink pretty much cost him his life as Sheriff is just waiting.
It could
He
be
has a damage camp on. Sheriff is second jungle right now. As we see a pause come into play, this is a really good opportunity just to go over some stuff. Look at the player damage. Coons is miles ahead, yet down 2 levels and a death.
That's the thing I loved about solo lane. You don't need to get kills or do damage in solo lane in order to win. If you're farming and you're out farming and you're out rotating, you're doing a job. At this point, Chalk can just leave the lane whenever he wants. He has tier 1 down.
Another thing I want to point out, I mean, I sound like a broken record, but 1551 player damage from your jungle as Thor. It's just tough. You haven't been involved in any kills. I mean, they only have 1 kill to show for it. It's just, even if you're not getting kills, just poke, throw out your 1. It does a ton of damage, especially if you hit the 2, the 1 there and the 1 back. But 1500 from your jungle is just, you gotta wonder. When the enemy support is out damaging you by, 400 plus, it's not a great spot to be in.
I think Limey might be opting for an Erendite here again, but when you're down, extra power doesn't really do much. You need more pain.
It doesn't. You're going to go for Erendite. It kind of just feels like he's going with a scripted build. But why? You got to look at what's going to give you the greatest return on investment. And when you're down, you're spending 2,600 gold on an item that only matters really when you're ahead. It's just suspect. There's a lot of, you can go for the extra pen. Jotun's is great on Thor just because Thor has some pretty long cooldowns. If you want to be more, you just want to be able to fight, you gotta go maybe a little bit more cooldown. Maybe you look at Brawlers, even though Brawlers is an early game item, it's just a great DPS spike. We're looking at the...
If you get cooldown on Thor, you can just pop your ult on cooldown. Just be annoying.
Yeah, you mean really thought. We're seeing the XP difference get pushed up to 11k and the gold difference to 8k plus. You gotta wonder when, Gold Fury's down, Atrocity might size up for a really early Fire Giant and then just steamroll the rest of the game. We see Baba Yaga hitting level 14, just really, really far ahead. Level 15, 4 levels ahead of Spooky. That's 4 levels in mid lane at 14 minutes in. This is what I meant by, I really wish in the draft comp, Winged Wars had just looked to do something different than last game, but they brought in... everybody's different on the team except for Limey. Like I said, I think, putting Limey on a different jungle than Thor would have been a little bit better, but the big thing is allowing Sheriff Bub to run it back on Jormungandr's. We see damage being pumped out in the mid jungle, but like I said, Jormungandr being rerun on Sheriff. Skipper showing that he had a pretty solid game on Jingwei, and you let it be run back as Ruler's gonna ult out here with Guan, but you let the Chalk return, despite knowing what Chalk was doing in team fights. This Merlin's out of position. Is he gonna pay for it? He is! Man, you gotta wonder what the positioning idea was as Limey comes in with an ult, picks up on Ruler. Limey's able to make his pressure felt. Good wall from Limey. Is Chalk gonna be able to do anything to him though? I don't think he's gonna be able to do anything. We see Jingwei rotate over and absolutely clean him up.
That's what
overstaying, chasing Jormungandr. Does he take some damage here? He hits the stun. Jingwei goes in, Skipper misses the ult, but he's gonna hit those autos. They turn around, take him in tower. Rama's gonna pop over too. Rama's hoping to clean up this Chalk. He's not. He's gonna dash in. This Achilles taking a ton of damage, and there was Sheriff. Chalk pushing. Skipper almost gets to tower. Oh man, what's gonna happen here? This Chalk goes in, a ton of damage being put out. Jing, you gotta wonder why they didn't turn and chase Jing. They could have chased Skipper down. He was one auto away, as we see Chuck getting lit up right here by Merlin. Oh, he's making it really hard.
Brockus should have left. He should have been
Brockus should have left, and you gotta wonder why they don't just turn and look at Jing. I mean, I know they're low, but at this point, this Jing is level 16. You have to find a way to shut down. Find a way. I mean, they're rolling the dice, but when you're down this low, you need to make a play happen, and there's a huge play waiting to happen right there.
Skipper's worth a lot of XP and gold at this point.
Skipper is worth a lot of XP and gold.
We have to give Jack credit, though, because Jack 3 levels down, he still had an impact in that team fight. He came in and cleaned up.
Yeah, he came in right behind the tower and really put up some damage. As we see Limey go up, who is he going to hit? Misses. I don't think he was really sure, but he's going to not pick up Baba. He's going to try to chase.
I think Thor might have been better staying on the ground.
And Blonde as Ruler gets picked out here. Really good wall trapping Ruler. And some good follow-up on it. We're seeing We Need Ward start to turn the fight a little bit more. You gotta wonder if it's a little too late, though, with 3 towers being down. Actually, we see Jack pushing left lane. I don't think anybody's aware. Doesn't look like Don's gonna go to stop him. They're more focused on the team fight. This could be a huge tower swing if nobody pays attention. As we see Chalk all... A lot of damage being put up, nobody down yet. They're going on Ganesh as Achilles activates Thorns. Look at your commits to Ganesh. No, Skipper cleans up on Limey, who took a little bit bad pathing. They're looking to capitalize on this Ganesh being out of place. They could turn around and absolutely destroy this Achilles. Instead, he's going to put some hurt on Skipper, but it doesn't matter as they're living in that tower. A great push from Jack, though, as nobody notices it. Taking left tier 2, Don cleans up Coon's sanity in mid. While all that is going on, Jack takes the opportunity to take tier 1 and 2 in left lane. That could be bigger than people realize.
See, what most people don't realize is there are 5 gods on the map, but Smite is a PvE game. It does not have to be PvP. If you take structures and you take objectives, you win the game. You don't
I agree,
have
as they're looking to take Primal, but, you know... So, from We Need War's perspective, they've been able to maybe, you know, turn the game a little bit more in their favor. You know, obviously there's a huge gold lead and XP lead, but you're actually up on towers in left lane, which is super important going into fire. We gotta see what they do here.
If somehow We Need Wards can get some pressure in that left lane again and try to push it maybe up to like the Phoenix safely, they might be able to keep Atrocity from calling a fire giant, to be honest.
So, to be quite honest, I'm surprised Atrocity isn't looking to set up for it, as Jingwei's getting crashed on. She's going to dash out safely. Limey's up in the air. Can he make a play happen on Jing? No, he lets out.
Jingwei is 4 levels over. That might be a little scary for Limey.
Guan is there, I agree. Seemed a little suspect at first, but you're right. Looking at the build, that Jing probably would have just lit him up. Good call on Limey to just ult out. You know, you're kind of turning the game in your favor. Think that way. Don't make a mistake.
As these two just slap boxing, they're not doing much damage to each other anymore at this point.
Is one axe boy or one boy with a really long spear?
He also has a shield. Don't forget the shield.
Yeah, but Chalk has a mana shield. It's called his passive.
As we see Ruler here with no mana. Ruler has a habit of staying out with very little mana.
Through the back. Are they going to pressure them in left tower? It looks like they are. I'm surprised they haven't set up for fire, considering they have a level advantage everywhere except for support.
I'm honestly shocked that they're not pushing for fire, because with the level...
Yeah, I agree. Look at this Ganesh really good at keeping them back. Shock is in the back line, gonna ult and absolutely massive damage on this Merlin. Is he gonna clean him up? Merlin switches stances. He's getting blown up right now. Merlin's not gonna get out as Brockus cleans him up, and then Spooky cleans Brockus. Skipper picks up. I don't even know what's going on. A lot of people are dying. Skipper cleans up Jack. Achilles is looking to put some damage on, but the damage is being put on him as he has to go back.
Skipper says, I'm not afraid.
Is he gonna buy time? This is a really easy kill grab. I'm surprised they're not committing to this Achilles. They're taking a lot of time. He's running out of time for his team to come back.
Oh, and
Oh my
Skipper
gosh,
just took one
really close
basic.
for Skipper. Really close call for Skipper.
I would back here and call for fire.
No,
Actually, no,
yeah.
never mind. Never mind.
Yeah, I don't think so, because they're back. The amount of time that Achilles bought was insane.
Achilles is doing a great job this game. Consanity's doing everything he can to keep his team in this.
The top player damage ahead of everybody in the game. He basically just gave his team a second chance at winning the game by staying alive there. You know, they got decided. There was a 5-3.
In terms of net worth, the entirety of Atrocity, but they're still going to push for the Fire Giant.
Interesting to see. Is the rotation going to come out? I don't think they have wards up. As two are rotating over.
Oh, but they saw, and they're turning on it.
They're going to stop it. They're going to turn. Not a lot of great turn potential as Merlin's going crazy. So is Chalk. Chalk's pretty low. Oh, and Tabo gets picked out by Skipper. The ult's going to come out. A lot of damage being put up. Don's going to take a spooky. Lamy picks up Skipper and Don with a double kill. That's what I wanted to see out of Limey. Recognizing those opportunities as that's Ruler's Blink. He does pick up Limey. Unfortunate to see, but Limey did do a pretty good job of turning that team fight, picking up a double kill. I know he dies there, but that's what I was looking for out of Thor. The ability to just pop in there, burn a kit, get 2 kills. If you're one still up somehow, get out.
It's important to note that as a jungle, this late in the fight when you're down, he took out the enemy carry. They might not have the damage for fire anymore.
Exactly. Huge picks. Not whether it's intentional or not, it's a huge pick. Absolutely massive.
The goal difference is still huge though. There's still 10k down.
Just how big the early game was, but this is certainly a lot closer of a game than it was about 10 minutes ago. We're seeing 4 towers up compared to 1, but there was a point where it was 6-3. So there's definitely a swing back in the favor. Look at the huge lane left. They might be able to set up for fire with that. As they go to clear it, looks like a team fight's going to set up around this Gold Fury. Looks like they're posturing. If I'm reading wards and I see 3 here, I'm hightailing it to fire and starting it there.
Yep, this is exactly what happened to us last
this
season.
Is exactly when you make the call. Let's go fire. Let's turn this. If they want to waste everything, go ahead. Ganesh with the suspect ult. As Ruler's going to get lit up here. Ruler's going to pay for it. Limey goes up in the air. Who is he going to crash down on? He crashes down on Baba Yaga. Gets a good stun off. An ult out from Jing. She's safe. Sheriff picks up the kill on Riley. Unfortunate turn of events for him. He's going to put up a ton of damage on this Achilles. Does Baba Yaga turn around, put the damage? Brockus picks up Spooky in the back line. Nobody's paying attention to him.
This could be a kill on Brockus, and it is.
Yeah, it is a kill on Brockus from Jack. We're going to see a ton of damage being put up. Is this going to be a huge turn? He's going to get out. The ult's down. Jack picks up Dawn, absolutely massive. Do they turn this on this Jing Wei? They can. They have the potential and the ability to. Good stun off. Can they put up more crowd control to set it up? Jing Wei, aka Skipper's going to pick up Kuhn's Sanity. Looks like they're going to be able to maybe pick up Llama. A lot of damage being pulled up. Necessary patience still from behind. This could be a triple kill here. No, Sheriff steals it. But what a turn. Just when you think we need wards has the opportunity.
This is where those shells mattered. That shell onto Skipper saved his life there when Rama was trying to light him up.
You gotta wonder, man. This is so... That's just spirit breaking as we need wards. Thinking you finally have the team fight to turn. Jingwei somehow outlasts, somehow just gets that health back. You know, that Devo's putting in absolute work.
Limey is here. Limey's ult is back up.
He's been a little bit better. He's been hitting his ults, picking them a little bit better. Unfortunate turn of events in that last team fight, but he's starting to have more of an impact. Ruler's had a great impact too. Get a little caught out of position. That's a huge. Ult out. That's a huge ult to burn. Not sure if I'm Skipper. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a good place to be. You leave the ult down now.
If Skipper has to go home, that might be any shot they have at Fire Giant.
It might. They're also approaching pretty equal on levels now. The footing's getting back there. Another repeat of Tabo just being really down in levels, but he's had a lot more of an impact this game than he did last. As he hits that running knockup, Ruler's gonna get out of there.
Ruler is so confident on his Guan Yu at this point. He just thinks nobody can kill him, and he's playing exactly like it. He's just running. He knows his team has his back.
Yeah, I mean, Skipper is absolutely decimating everything in his path right now with 10-2. Everybody's negative right now on We Need Wards. It's, 24-12. You really gotta wonder why Atrocity just hasn't turned or set up a play on fire. The levels are getting closer and closer. The gold's getting there.
I don't think the gold is getting there. They went from an 8k gold difference to a 12k gold difference.
Yeah, but late game, it's not necessarily gold difference because you're gonna get the gold anyway to get your items. There's a lot of team fights going, a lot of abilities are being burned. It looks like this play is gonna go down as he gets to execute on Skipper. That's absolutely massive. Great wall for Chalk. A lot of damage being put up. The Shock's gonna go to look back in. He's gonna pick up the kill on the Achilles. He's gonna pick up the kill on... No, Ganesh's gonna get out. They're gonna chase him. And never mind, Sheriff's going to pick him up. Baba Yaga's going to get killed out here by Spooky. Good pick. Are they going to turn around? They're going to commit to right tower. They're not going to be able to stop them. Ruler is just piecing Middle Phoenix. Oh, what a play! Is no shot. What a great wall. Looks like a lot of damage being put up on Shock from pretty much everybody. Good rotation back. Is Jack able to get this kill? No, looks like they might turn. Ruler picks up the kill on Limey. Are they going to turn around and pick it up on Shock? Merlin's just going to get out, but Rama will most likely not get out here, and he is...
Run!
Jeez, not sure if burning your Sanctuary is the greatest idea. Sorry, your Aegis. Just because you're going to die most likely anyways, and the off chance that you guys do come back to fight, not sure if you want to have that relic down for... What is it now? Oh, nearly 3 minutes.
Skipper's back. This might be the Fire Giant call that we've been waiting
Fire
so
Giant
long
call,
for.
hopefully.
Here we go. This is it. Skipper's gonna burn this so hard.
Fire Giant's getting pieced. The image being put up. They're not gonna be able to contest just because their ADC and Jungle aren't back for at least 5 seconds. 22 on Jack. They're gonna burn Pyro too. This should be it. I mean, they could just choose probably left lane to run it down. They got to deal with fire minions in middle. They can push middle and then just go.
I would look at that left lane. They might take gold now. Primal. Sorry. Primal Fury might... It might
taking Primal just to make sure the other team can't take it and just to be, a little bit more evil. Why not? Skipper's absolutely piecing it right here. I think Chop just teleported there because yes. It's going to be interesting to see what the next course of events are going to be. Let's head over to builds if you can, Tobias. Let's just see. Is there anything that stands out to you, Dookie, as we head into, probably the final fight? What could turn the fight? A lot of damage is being put up there.
I would like to point out that both Guan Yu and Chalk have Heartseeker. And that's a lot of damage that's being pumped out into the back line. The pen and percentage damage that does is just a lot. It hurts.
I agree. Even if you build, substantially more tanky, just the passive on it is super strong as we see them facing up in left lane. Interesting to see. They don't have their support there. He's coming up through mid right now. Ruler over in right lane. Is he split pushing? Limey's gonna rotate. Ganesh ult coming out. This Jing Wei's taking a lot of damage. There was Brockus. Spooky absolutely cleans him up. Limey's going up in the air. He's probably gonna Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga's ult is down. He's getting silenced now. Misses it. He's gonna go for Skipper. Skipper's gonna fire back. Oh, wow. The damage Skipper's putting out is absolutely insane. Really running the back line, trying to pick off Merlin. Merlin's gonna put everything up. He's gonna enter his ult. A lot of damage being put up. Do they catch up to him in time? I don't think so. Thor missing his wall. Skipper really putting up a fight, taking out Coon's sanity. If they get a pick, this might be game. They're going to take a left. Phoenix. Oh, man. Spooky just not being rated to be further back if he can. This might be game. I don't see how we can stop them.
They have fire and fire minis coming down the middle.
Nash is down. Oh, Limey's down. Jessica's down. Skipper with a triple kill and Titan. Pretty indicative. 15-3. You gotta wonder why they didn't ban Jing after last showing by Skipper. it's just rough all around. It didn't seem like there was a good game plan from Winnie Wards going into either match.
Well, that was a great set from Atrocity. From the very start, We Need Ward seemed like they just didn't have a chance. That Atrocity's level of communication is on a different level from the other teams in this league.
I agree, and one of the scary things to realize is, you can make the argument that this is an average game for Atrocity. This Atrocity, when they really turn it up, can just steamroll through teams, and this was probably just an average match for Atrocity. It didn't seem like they were trying to, go crazy. They took their time with fire. It looks like they were being a little bit more, concise with what they wanted. There was definitely a better effort by We Need Wards heading into the end of the game. But when levels are that far, XP's that far ahead, gold's that far ahead, it's going to be living hell to get there.
Kudos to Limey for picking it up, though, because his store had more of an impact in this game than it did in the first game.
I agree. Limey's store the first game was very suspect. I felt like he could have had more potential just with his burst. He definitely showed it in the second match, hitting a lot more meaningful ults, on a skipper a lot of the time, maybe onto Don, waiting for Don to leave his ult so he's not CC immune. But just, skipper's back has to hurt. 15-3, absolutely putting up, insane numbers with 37k, nearly, probably half an auto away from 38k. It's rough. He's doing more damage than their ADC and jungle combined. So anytime that's happening, you got to wonder why they didn't just try to focus and shut down Skipper a little bit more. I know he's playing a super safe god in Jing Wei, but the focus has to be there.
Sometimes the Atrocity gameplay is just Skipper and the boys, and if you can shut down Skipper early and just keep him out of the game, that's how you beat Atrocity. And We Need Wards just didn't target Skipper. They just kind of left that dual lane alone, and Skipper got to free farm, and that ultimately led to Skipper being 15-3 and just doing massive amounts of damage late game.
I agree. The number one thing you cannot do facing Atrocity is leaving Skipper alone. If you leave Skipper on an island, he will live there, he'll set up a tent, he'll make a village. Anybody that visits the island, probably dead on impact or arrival. Skipper likes to be alone, likes to 1v1, and gets those kills, then gets the levels, rotates, and just shows up every match. If you want to be able to beat Atrocity, you have to look at Skipper, shut him down. They do an absolutely amazing job of just collapsing around him, making sure that he gets ahead. But you can see why, after this match, he won League MVP last season.
Definitely. I think we have Sheriff coming in a couple of seconds for an interview, which is great because I thought Sheriff was majorly impactful in this game.
Yeah,
as important as Skipper is, but I think Sheriff might be the difference in the team.
Yep.
Hey, Sheriff, what's up? Hello?
Hello.
Hey, Sheriff. Congratulations to you guys on your victory over We Need Wards. Great game, great set.
Thanks, man.
You seem super comfortable on the Jormungandr. Is that something that you're going to carry on for the rest of the season, or?
It's something that, towards the end of last season, Coach had me mess around on, and considering I like the really aggressive, damagey supports, it just kind of stuck with me pretty fast.
It works for you. It seems like you're not afraid at all to ever dive people's towers. Where does that come from? Is that just, by nature? You just love, shitting on people?
Yeah, I'm just reckless. Yeah.
Well, you did a great job rotating, to be honest.
I appreciate it. Yeah,
just
I do whatever I can for the boys to get the kills, or
Yeah.
me.
My main question is, going into the second match, were you surprised that they didn't ban out the Jormungandr, or did you feel like that was kind of an understated thing?
So, I didn't think it was super crazy in the first game. I guess I did a little bit better than I thought, but even then, Coach before the second game was like, yeah, I see him banning that Yorm. I don't think they're going to let you on it again. But,
yeah, so you did a great job of rotating. One thing I want to say is that you burned your ult at the right times. You didn't use your ult to rotate. You were just naturally pretty cohesive in it. do you guys run over rotations, in scrims or even casuals? How do you guys have that level of synergy just to be in the right spot at the same time?
Well, actually, I think the boys have been playing together quite a bit, but I've been so busy with work, I haven't gotten to practice much. It's mainly been like this morning and some sessions here and there, but we just kind of have the cohesion from last season, and it just sticks with us. We have good communication.
So I noticed that you guys every single game you go the same relic, just quadruple shell. Whose idea is that, and what's the strategy behind it?
Well, so it was originally our coach's idea last season, and the theory behind it is, they have 2 or 3 auto attackers. You get 4 upgraded shells, and you're blocking 8 attacks. I mean, you can't really go wrong with it.
Yeah, so speaking of auto attackers, Skipper having a massive 15-3-9 game, it always seems like you hit level 2, you get the initial aggression on the first or second wave, and then you kind of just let Skipper do his own thing. Is every game the same where you just, hand it off to Skipper or let him farm up and, try to just keep him alive, keep him putting up damage as Ruler dives and picks off? What's the mindset going into duo lane, with that comp?
So, early game, probably the first 5 or so minutes, it's just me and Skipper kind of battling for who's more aggressive, and then me body blocking when I need to. I'm not going to let him die, but we just kind of have fun with it and play as aggressive as we always do.
Yeah.
And then,
So, you can finish.
no, my bad. Fucking Ruler. I mean, we kind of let him just do his thing. If he wants to come over and gank, then it's more than welcome. But majority of the time, we keep our aggression pretty high and don't really get to see too many ganks in the duo lane.
Yeah, one last question from me. Going into the second game, you guys being up 1-0, I think the first game was maybe just a little bit closer than the second. They pulled it back in the second game, but going in, were there any holes you saw in their comp that you guys looked to exploit? What was the general idea for a strategy going into the second one?
So we weren't really worried about their strategy. We just kind of focus on ours. Like we focus on our team comps being what works together super well and what's gonna make or break those team fights. Like we focus on comps that have 3 or 4 people that their ults work so well together that if you burn those 4 ults in a team fight, then it's pretty much game.
Any last questions for you, Steven?
No, you guys, your game speaks for itself, and I think you guys did a great job. Congratulations on your win. So
yeah, man, I appreciate it.
I guess we will see you guys for the next game at 9.
Alrighty.